Hello everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. For today's recipe, we're making a traditional Mexican sweet bread, Pan de Muerto, which translates to bread of the dead. First, we're going to go over the ingredients. We're going to need 4 medium-sized eggs or 3 large eggs, 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 of a cup of sugar, the zest from 3 oranges, which is about 3 tablespoons, and we're also going to use the juice from the 3 oranges, so set those aside, don't discard those. 3/4 of a cup of unsalted butter, half a teaspoon of salt, half a cup of warm milk, 1 envelope of active dry yeast, which is 2 1/4 teaspoons, 2 teaspoons of ground anise, and extra flour for dusting. We're going to start out by activating the 1 package of active dry yeast with half a cup of warm milk. We're going to borrow about a tablespoon of the sugar and about 2 tablespoons of the flour. We're going to mix it in with the yeast until it's completely dissolved. Cover and place in a warm, dry place for 10 to 15 minutes or until it doubles in size. While we're waiting for the yeast, we're going to begin to add the dry ingredients to the mixture. You can also use a regular bowl and mix by hand. Add the flour, the sugar, the salt, and the ground anise. Attach the dough hook and mix the dry ingredients. If you're using a regular bowl, use a whisk to mix your ingredients. Once your dry ingredients are well mixed with the flour, add the remainder of the ingredients. We're going to start out by adding the room temperature butter first. Continue mixing until the butter is well combined with the flour. Once it reaches that point, add the orange zest, the activated yeast, 4 medium eggs or 3 large eggs. If you're using a stand-up mixer, mix for 15 to 20 minutes on medium-high speed. If you're mixing by hand, it might take you a little bit longer until it comes together. At first, it's going to feel very sticky and you may be tempted to add a little bit more flour, but I suggest you mix for at least 15 minutes before you begin to add more flour. With the amount of ingredients we used, we did not add any additional flour. Just continue mixing and be very patient because the dough eventually does come together. But if you feel you need to add a little bit more flour, you can add a little bit more flour. A great way to know when your dough is ready is when your dough no longer sticks to the side of the bowl. It also has a nice stretchy feel to it and it doesn't stick to your hands. Add a tablespoon of vegetable shortening to a medium bowl, rub it all around the bowl and transfer the dough into the bowl. Rub the remainder of the shortening that's on your hands on top of the dough, cover it, and let it rest in a warm, dry place for 30 minutes to 1 hour. After 1 hour, our dough has now doubled in size. Now we're going to transfer it to a lightly floured work surface. Lightly kneaded until it resembles a large cylinder shape. Pan de Muerto comes in various sizes. You can make large ones. In this case, we're going to be making smaller personal sized pieces, so we're going to cut them into smaller pieces. And we're going to cut them as equal as we can to create about 3-inch balls of dough. Take the first piece and gently fold in the sides until you create a nice smooth ball of dough. Continue with the rest of the pieces until you have equal amounts of pieces. With the amount of ingredients we're using, we should be able to make about 6 pan muertos or 2 large ones. Line a cookie sheet with parchment paper and place each one about 2 to 3 inches apart. Separate the remainder of the dough into 12 equal 1-inch pieces. Set aside a good amount of dough to create 6 equal half-inch rounds to place on top of the bread. Begin by rolling out the first piece into a nice smooth ball of dough. Place it on your working surface and roll it out to about 5 to 6 inches or long enough to cover the top of the bread. Once it's the size that you need, you're going to make 3 different indentions, 1 in the middle and 2 on the side. Roll out the indentations until they're nice and thin and you have something similar to this. This represents the bones of the departed and it's going to go on top of the bread. Continue rolling out the remainder of the pieces until we have all 12 pieces. Take the first bone-shaped piece and drape it over the ball of dough. Take a second piece and drape it right across from the other one. The dough that we set aside, we're going to take a small amount from it and roll it into a nice smooth ball of dough. This one's going to go right on top of the bread. This is going to represent the skull. If your dough is not sticking to the bread, you can use a little bit of water or egg white to help it stick better to the dough. Once we have all 6 pieces completed, we're going to cover it and place it in a warm, dry place and let them rest for about 30 minutes to 1 hour. Our dough has been resting for about an hour. Now that they doubled in size, we're going to bake them at 350 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. While we're waiting for the bread, we're going to prepare the glaze. In a small saucepan over medium heat, add 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter, 1/4 cup of sugar, and the juice from the 3 oranges, which was about 1/2 cup. Stir until the sugar is completely dissolved and the butter is melted. Once it reaches a light simmer, remove it from the burner and set it aside. After 35 minutes, they should have a light golden brown color like this. Let them rest for 10 to 15 minutes before you add the glaze. Using a basting brush, we're going to add a good amount of the glaze to each one of the pieces. Make sure to get all the nooks and crannies of each of the bones. The orange glaze is not only going to give it more flavor, but it's also going to help the sugar attach to the bread. Pan de Muerto, or Day of the Dead bread, is normally made in October till the beginning of November. It's traditionally used for the Day of the Dead celebration, which is November 1st to the 2nd. It is used as an offering on the ofrenda along with our ancestors' favorite recipes. This is a very tasty and delicious pan dulce that can be enjoyed with your coffee or a delicious cup of hot chocolate. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as we enjoyed making it for you. And if you're new to this channel and would like to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the little bell so you can receive a notification each time we upload a new video. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much, and I'll see you in our next video.